Hello. Yeah, kind of caught me on the hop here, so I'm just going to bring the title screen back up. Yeah, so we got there in the end. I'm so glad we were able to find a workaround for this because we've been having hella audio issues. But hi, good afternoon, good aftermiddag. I'm Carrow, aka Carrow in a box. Currently Carrow in a power and a hat, and also in a chair to bring you a run of Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty. Plan percent, very easy. And it will just be me flying solo for the next hour, 5 minutes or so, so I'm just going to get right into things. Time will begin when I select the radar type for very easy. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, let's get into things. Like 5 minutes ago, I didn't think this run would actually even happen, but hello. As you may have already guessed from my accent, I'm from Ireland. I'm primarily a Metal Gear Solid speedrunner. I've been running this game since November of 2023. This is the sequel to the hit game Metal Gear Solid, released in 1998, and you may immediately notice that the character we are playing as doesn't look a thing like Solid Snake. This was a point of severe contention in the fan community when the game originally released, but I would like to think that Raiden, because that's his code name, his real name is Jack, I'd like to think that Raiden has definitely earned his stripes 23 years later. This was originally released in the US in 2001, 2002 on this side of the world, and this is the little, the start of the tutorial section, where we are essentially just on rails here. We need to visit the node, not nerd, node. That gives us access to the game's radar system. And we are introduced to the data analyst and saving point for this run, Rosemary, aka Jack's girlfriend. The red codec calls are mandatory. The green codec calls are optional, well, mostly optional. You'll see what I mean later on. But just for safekeeping purposes, we're going to pick up this ration later for use in a boss fight in about 10 minutes or so. There's a guard there. He woke up. Of course, by now you've noticed there were 2 unconscious guards on the floor, indicating that there is somebody else at this totally legitimate offshore cleanup facility, which is definitely what this place is. It's the Big Shell, and you shouldn't read anything further into that whatsoever. Elevator comes down. We roll in, and we are on our way up. To start things off, we are currently still in the tutorial section, so I'm interfacing with Colonel Campbell here, breaking down the structure of the place. Roll in, under the grate, equip the M9. There was also an M9 under one of the boxes back in the start of the Strut A Deep Sea dock, but just for timing purposes, we go with the one on Strut A roof. We can immediately bypass this guard because once you log into the node to begin with, on VE, you have access to the radar for the entire duration of the game. So we can just skate right past him onto the AB connecting bridge. We are currently on our way to Strut C. PPK that guard, knock him out. We can also use the M9, which I haven't equipped yet. You'll see why in a moment. Into Strut B, slight blood warning here. There has been a massacre. You can only really call it a massacre in Strut B. The Big Shell has been taken over by a group of terrorists calling themselves the Sons of Liberty, and we are tasked with stopping them. Led by the Dead Cell unit, primarily the bosses from this game and a couple who aren't affiliated. We skip that. We go through that call from Rose. You may have noticed that there was precise timing with that aerial, which I didn't quite get, because when you immediately cross the loading trigger for that door, you get sucked into a codec call. But I like to think it turned out pretty well. A couple of aerials across the BC connecting bridge. You may have briefly seen a couple of chaff grenades there on the now completely useless bridge over to the Shell 1 core, which we're going to be visiting in about 20 minutes. We don't pick those up. There are another more optimal set of chaff grenades that we'll be using later on the run, but we don't pick them up for about 15 minutes or so. We meet with Peter Stillman, the bomb disposal expert drafted in to dispose of the bombs placed around the big shell, both struts, by Fat Man. The first, I guess, real boss fight of this run. And if you're confused, I said first real boss fight. There will be somebody else we'll be meeting very shortly. I wonder who that is. It couldn't be Lieutenant J.G. Iroquois Pliskin, who we were introduced to a few minutes ago. Definitely not. And also, that was not me. My Twitch name may be Carrow in a box, but I am not using the box draft for this run. This is a beginner-friendly, I guess, version of the run, and that does not include the conveyor belt glitch that you use later in Strut E. This is going to be as straightforward as possible. That is one of 6 bombs we need to defuse. Open the hatch here, equip the coolant, and there it is. Incoming call here from Stillman, indicating that we are now on our way. There are two varying routes we can take for bomb defusal, counterclockwise or clockwise. We are, as you may have guessed, going clockwise. It is the version of the route that doesn't include any glitches. So this is the well, I guess you could call it a glitchless run, except there is one very small one we use toward the end of the run. Trank that guard, and sometimes he falls against the other side of the bridge, and we just roll onto him, and there's no collision damage. In that case, he didn't, but we can proceed past him anyway into the Strut E parcel room. Take the stairs. We cannot roll upstairs. If you do roll upstairs, you do take fall damage, so we do not do that. It's an immediate time loss. Into Strut E heliport. We'll be back here shortly, and we get a call from Lieutenant JG indicating that we had our first encounter with Olga Gerlukovic, one of the bosses in the tanker chapter of this run, which we didn't play, but will be recapped later in the run in maybe about a half hour or so, like very, very quickly. I know, like, a plot-heavy game like Metal Gear isn't exactly conducive to speedrun conditions if you want to keep up with the plot, but I'll do my best to actually keep everyone up to speed. You saw there that I equipped the coolant when standing up. That is a technique known as coolant rise. It essentially cancels out your standing up animation and saves you a few seconds. That is the main use of it in this run. There's also one in Strut A, which isn't particularly beginner friendly, so I'm not going to do that. We're just going to go for the old school method. So we are now on the EF connecting bridge. There have been claymore mines placed in specific spots, and we avoid the first one. There was one over on the left side of the bridge. There's one over the right side, none on the grate on the right side, so we're going to take that on the way back. Into Strut F. This is the weapons hub of the game, I guess. We have to pick up a bunch of things here over the course of the run. One of them is the AK-74U. That is one of 2 spots you can pick that up. We can do this. Oh no, wait, no, we just missed it. So I'm going to knock him out. If you get the cycle right, you can jump down on that guard and knock him out, which is totally optional, but I do it every time I can because it's funny. Onto the FA connecting bridge, take that guard. We are going to get spotted by this Cypher here. On a good cycle, trank this backup guard that's called in, and we proceed from there into Strut A. This is where the coolant rise strat comes in handy, but it's not particularly beginner friendly. It's very precise positioning, so we are just going to do the old school method. Crawl under these pipes. We do pick ourselves up an extra ration for our trouble. Down here. And there's the bomb. We're about halfway through the bomb disposal segment of the run. which will be indicated by a particular codec call we receive from Rosemary when we head to the next area. So we head back out. A lot of crawling here. This is, I guess, the more like marathon save option, because I didn't want to waste minutes on precise positioning. I know we're already incredibly behind due to the technical issues earlier on, but I'm still going to try put on a great run. Avoid that guard there. He won't see us. Even if he does spot us there, guard's vision is so limited on very easy that the cone and field of view they have isn't enough to spot you unless you're like literally directly in front of them. So we make the most of that there and proceed back onto the AB bridge. 2 more bombs left. Slight blood warning here coming up again. They obviously haven't got the cleaners in strut B yet, so we need to proceed through all this. Take out this guard, head in, take out the other guard. They will remain asleep. Basically, on all other difficulties except VE, when you re-enter a room, the guards will be awake again. Like the M9 tranquilizer isn't enough to keep them out for more than maybe like 2 or 3 minutes. Dramatic cutscene here, indicating that the previously seemingly injured Stillman actually can walk just fine, and he's really not doing himself any favors there. There's a cipher there on the BC connecting bridge. We do take an alert. We take that backup guard out. There will be another alert we take in a few minutes, but the game obviously knows that only to send 1 backup guard, and because there's already 1 on the bridge, we won't be meeting any further reinforcements. Sensor B is there. Technically, we don't need it, but it is a story flag, so we should pick it up. The last of the 6 bombs is right here in the women's bathroom, a very threatening position, obviously. There couldn't be something more nefarious at hand here. Absolutely not. So that's 6 of the bombs taken care of. We have a few more to deal with. And we head onto the BC connecting bridge. We're going to get an incoming call here from Stillman. And this is the first of 3 countdown segments where we're given a certain amount of time to actually reach our goal. And the worst thing possible to happen here would be taking a death somewhere. You have to restart right at the beginning of the countdown segment again. So that's not something we are going to do, at least this time. Could I have a quick call for any possible donations, please? I'm just working my way back to the Strut A Deep Sea dock. I'll pick up back with you there.
Sorry about that. We have a 200 NOK donation. Yes, blame Nordic. We have a 200 NOK donation from Duck that says, "Hey Carrow, you know what I say? Get in the sea, but for this one, try not to. I love you and I'm proud of you. You got this."
Excellent. Thank you. So we come back. We are now in the Strut A Deep Sea dock. Peter Stillman is no longer with us. F in chat, please. He fell for Fat Man's trap in Strut H and had been disposed of. Back in the dock, which bears a striking resemblance to the opening area of Metal Gear Solid for reasons that are, of course, entirely coincidental and nothing to do with the general makeup of the game at all. Bomb there, we barely see it, but we just saw it enough to actually dispose of it. That is the last of the C4 bombs for now. You may have noticed that the area we just ran through looks suspiciously like a boss area. It has been set up perfectly for an arena for the first fight with Fortune. First boss. She's not really a boss. Actually, I need to stand over here, just in case, so we don't get hit by flying debris. She's the first boss of the run. Not a real boss. She is essentially invulnerable. But actually we got hit there. Yeah, no worries. But like shooting through the forklift advances the fight. Yeah, we get hit there, and she immediately starts shooting the lights, indicating that the fight has progressed enough. We are waiting on a cutscene trigger for somebody coming down in the elevator, and until then, that's the first indication that the fight is proceeding as intended. We play Ring Around a Rosie there with her for a while. That's the indication we needed. We essentially just avoid getting hit as best we can while she wrecks shop with her big old Gatling gun and get behind this barrel. Sometimes she'll hit them, sometimes she doesn't. Like, the positioning is pretty precise. Yeah, but it's fine. We can just run around and avoid getting hit. That got hit. It's going to explode. That was her cue. That was her cue. Once she makes that grunt noise, that has been the fight concluded, and that was fortune. I guess you couldn't really call it a fight, but we do have an actual boss fight to deal with in approximately 3 minutes. We've been given a very generous estimate of 500 seconds to get to the Strut E heliport. I can do that as quickly as possible. Now, getting the Claymore, like, that was deliberate because I knew I'd pick up the chaff grenade upon standing up. Those are the two we need for later on the run. You can avoid those two, but I avoided the second one anyway because I was given iframes. We're back onto the FA connecting bridge, and we should probably get a weapon in hand. Yeah, that's a good idea. We don't need to use it here. There is a guard on the bridge, but he won't hear us. Sometimes he does hear you if you're too close. He picks up your footsteps. That has lost me a little bit of time here in previous attempts. Into the Strut F warehouse, trank that guard, roll past him, roll. Oh, not lean against the wall, Raiden. I know the movement is very precise, but I mean, throw me a friggin' bone here. We're already behind. Roll into a crouch, pick up that Claymore. Sometimes you can do it perfectly. Roll there, avoid all of the other Claymores placed on the bridge, and back into the Strut E parcel room. We are on our way to the first boss fight of the run, and it is with the architect of the C4 bombs himself, Fat Man. We have been essentially just baited out into meeting him. There's a bomb on the top level of the heliport. It's obvious bait, but it's story flag bait, so we need to go there and take care of it. I need to get my coolant on previous anyway, so let me do that. There's the bomb. And the sound of skates indicates that Fat Man is indeed close by. There's a couple of bombs to take out. Can I get his? No, I can't. Backup strat, just wail on him with the SOCOM. Takes, I believe, one more headshot. That was the first bomb. Here's the second. He always comes around to the area you have recently defused in, which is handy. And that was him. That's the fight. Fat Man is now no longer with us. His corpse is directly in front of us, and he placed a big old bomb directly underneath it. So we lift him up, drag him back, and we're able to freeze the last C4. That is those bombs dealt with. We'll have more bombs to handle later on. Considerably more precarious bombs, but I'll explain about that a little while later. Some cutscenes and codecs here. If you know anything about the Metal Gear series, you know it loves its cutscenes and codecs, so I'm just going to skip through those as soon as possible. If you're not able to keep up with the plot, honestly, I don't blame you. You'd be able to access the script online anyway. We are now tasked with visiting the Shell 1 core. We couldn't get to it from the other side of the BC connecting bridge because that was blown up by Fortune, and we are actually going to take the other way. Put on the battle dress uniform here. That's what the BDU stands for. We don't have to have a weapon equipped, so we can just run along in our fancy new gear. We have a uniform, but we do not have the supplied weapon. It's an AK-74U. I mentioned earlier that you can get one in the Strut F warehouse, but On VE, thankfully, there is one much closer to us. Head over the bridge again. Hopefully I missed it. Yep, I do. Good stuff. Over the bridge, introduction to collapsing platforms. We'll be seeing more of them later on, so if you love things randomly dropping away from you at speed, you're going to love some sections of this game. Into the Shell 1 core, take a mandatory call from Rose, indicating that we have been indeed tasked with locating Mr. Richard Ames, one of the hostages. Leaning against the wall here was totally unintentional. Sorry about that. Into the warehouse here, we pick up our AK. It's our first day on the job. We accidentally threw our other one in the sea. It happens, but thankfully they have spares. Take out that guard with a roll. You don't have to, but it's better if you do, because the guards will immediately be suspicious of you if they see you doing aerials around. Because apparently all of the Glukovich soldiers don't know how to do that. Down here, we need to get ourselves a directional microphone. One thing I love here is they'll notice you on the upper levels if you do that, but through the window they cannot spot you doing aerials. And I did that completely unintentionally, so I'm just going to clear out these guards. Whoops. I was a little bit too keen, so I am just going to eliminate the entire room instead. That's fine. We come up this way. Now that we can safely do aerials again, I wanted to show you an alternate way to deal with that room. We didn't have to take out those guards, but needs must. Back up to B1. We were told about the security measures here earlier on. They got a biometric system in place. So this is how we deal with that. He's going to take a fast line out. Get behind him. Grab him. Put him up against the retinal scanner. And there you go. So we have completely bluffed our way into the Shell 1 Core B1 conference hall, and now we need to find Ames. Here is a pacemaker. He has brown hair, and this is entirely dependent on RNG. That is not him. That's him. Ayo. He is indeed Ames. We have some more codec calls to deal with, indicating that President Johnson, who was also kidnapped, has been transferred to the Shell 2 core, which we're going to be entering in a little bit. But first, our disguise gets blown, and Ames is also no longer with us. F in chat, please. They overloaded his pacemaker. I don't have any AK ammo left, so I'm gonna take the backup strat. The alert did come in, but thankfully, tranking that guard immediately is an immediate solution, of course. We are back up on Shell 1 Core 1F. We no longer need our uniform. It was loose fitting anyway. If a guard bumps into Raiden at all while he's wearing it, it will come off. So we don't need that. We don't need to put that back on again. Pick up some M9 and SOCOM ammo just for GP. We don't necessarily need it because we'll be moving on to higher caliber weapons shortly anyway. We need to visit the Strut F warehouse one last time for this run. We need to pick up a certain sniper rifle. It's a returning character from Metal Gear Solid 1. Returning characters from Metal Gear Solid 1 in Metal Gear Solid 2. It's more likely than you think. In here is said PSG-1. Definitely not the only returning character we'll be seeing, if you catch my drift. So we are back onto the EF connecting bridge. We have ourselves our sniper rifle. We can just go across this way over the grate, which is great, and head into Strut E. Our next destination is Strut D, because from there on we can proceed to the Shell 1, Shell 2 connecting bridge. There have been several sets of Semtex sensors, 6 sets of Semtex sensors, try saying that 5 times fast, placed on the bridge. And one of them is particularly tricky for reasons I'll explain in a moment. I'll probably need some quiet time, so I'm going to call for that in about a minute or so. Guards on the lower level, so we can just completely avoid them. Head into strut D. A couple of well-placed aerials here, and the entrance to the Shell 1, Shell 2 connecting bridge is out this door to the north. So we do that. Get an incoming codec call from Lieutenant JG Pliskin, giving us the lowdown on where the sensors are actually placed. We equip our PSG-1, and said problematic Semtex is up here. I don't have audio cues for this going off, so like I'll just rely on visual cues. That's fine. I can deal with that. That's 3, 4, 5, and number 6 is right here. Yep. That's all 6 sets of Semtex sensors. We roll through, get a call from Lieutenant JG, and who was that? Goodness, I wonder where we've seen him before. Harrier time. The occupant of the Harrier 2 on top of the heliport now wants to kill us. I hate it when that happens. Somebody steals the helicopter and tries to kill you with it. So this is the beginner-friendly version of this fight. We have been gifted a stinger. We'll be using that later on. We get our 4 shots in, pick up a ration just for GP. He's going to come back and he is going to drop a bunch of cluster bombs on us. Hopefully we can get him here. If we don't, no biggie. Yeah, we miss it, but they eventually fall. They eventually explode, and the fact that we'd survived that, he wants to move to his homing missiles phase.
I'll let you go out in style.
He said he wants to let us go out in style, and yeah, got 2 hits there. You may notice I hopped over the ledge pretty late. I didn't think I'd actually timed that correctly, so that's a massive relief. He's going to come up here. We have a bunch more shots to deal with. Oh, got hit. Whoops. Those happen sometimes. But the main missile barrage has been completed. Shouldn't move into phase 3, and we don't. That's the fight. Okay, big moment here. Skip that save prompt. Big moment here. We have to get ourselves across to the other side of the bridge. How are we going to do that? Like that. That's the leap of faith. First try with suboptimal audio cues, and I managed to get that done. Whoops. I won't be... Whoops. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to take a reset on that. Yeah, I went too far. I went too far into a leaning position and like effectively just like leaned up instead when I shouldn't have. And I'm immediately back over. That's a demonstration of what can easily go wrong here, especially when you're, oh God, I did it again, whoops. Okay, back up strat time, back onto the grate. And this is how it's supposed to go. Do that, drop down here. Part of the bridge is still standing. And we flip over the railing here to take us over the other half, which is now non-existent. Strut L is just there, up above us. We roll onto the ladder here, and we are on our way up. This is where the chaff grenades come in handy. We had to run that back. Hopefully we don't need to run this back. Roll at the third window. Whoops. I seem to be rather overzealous with that. We do not... Oh, actually, we do get an alert. That's fine. We're actually supposed to lean up here. Jamming the radar means that the ciphers immediately in front of us can't spot us. They will shoot you here, and if you get shot, you immediately fall. We don't get a cutscene here. A rather humorous cutscene here plays out if you don't have an alert and you go across the bridge, but we avoid it. The radar is still jammed, so that guard up top, who was supposed to trigger the cutscene, can't see us. The second chaff goes off, distracting the ciphers. Oh, that was a close one. Okay, yeah, but we made it over the bridge into the Shell 2 core. This is the air purification room. We have a couple of cutscenes and codecs to go through here, but the scary speedrunner stuff is mostly at an end for now. I can take a little bit of a breather. Call with the colonel. We are instructed to acquire a rocket launcher. Which may seem familiar to some of you who have played Metal Gear Solid 1. Is it just me, or is this all starting to sound a little bit like deja vu? I'm not sure. Down to B1, we have said weapon to pick up. Roll here, and surprise, B1 is completely flooded. So we have to swim through. Raiden, of course, does not have any swimming training in his VR missions, so he is going to be flying by the seat of his pants, so to speak. And no, we didn't get the Nikita pickup. Raiden Plus. You're supposed to go over it, and yeah, there we go. Well, I mean, like I got out of there pretty quick. That's fine. Okay, now we have our Nikita, and we are, of course, headed back up to rescue the president. Tapping twice brings down a fast elevator. The president is on the other side of that wall. We could go to rescue him right now as is, but there is an electrified floor. So we need to take that out. Get the Nikita. Get down, Mr. President, or just get slightly to the left. That works too. That is the electrical generators taken care of. The floor has been taken out, and now we meet President Johnson. Couple of cutscenes and codecs, and if you could guess what's going to happen here, well, you're right. All of the important side characters here all seem to meet one particular fate. President Johnson has met the same. F in chat, please. A call with Lieutenant J.G. Pliskin, or wait, no, sorry, I mean Solid Snake. It turns out he was Solid Snake the entire time, and in casual play, he recaps the entire tanker segment. But we don't. Yeah, but like he said, we're wasting time, and we can figure that out later. We have a speed run to do, so we have now been tasked with rescuing Emma Emmerich, Otacon's sister, and the last line of defense against the launch of Arsenal gear. So we've got a little bit of swimming to do. Double tap to bring down the elevator real quick. Down to B1. And you get to see Raiden going fish mode for about a minute and a half, which is, for somebody who hasn't properly swam before, his form is absolutely fantastic. It has to be said. So we just juke our way through the doors here, which we would be able to access under normal circumstances if B1 wasn't basically entirely underwater at this point. There's a mine there. I don't know who placed the mines there, but we don't want to deal with those. They deal a little bit of damage on VE, and given that we'll be rescuing Emma shortly, they're bad news. We don't want to deal with them. Up and over, through to the second hatch door, and that is the swimming segment concluded for now. We resurface, and we are immediately met with a codec call from Otacon, indicating that Emma is, you guessed it, afraid of water. A lot is all conspiring against us here, but hopefully this won't. This is Vamp 1. That was Vamp 1. 6 stinger shots on VE. I didn't have my audio cues, so I couldn't rely on that. But I saw his reaction go off. Thank you. I appreciate it. That was one thing I was working on during practice, just in case. I was able to make use of our backup strat anyway. That's good. Vamp 1, as you may have already guessed, we'll be seeing him later on. And that will definitely be the last we'll be seeing of him in this series. It's not like he's going to pop up in a future title or whatever. He definitely remains dead at the end of this game. Absolutely. Also, Emma is here now. She can't swim. Can't swim very well, and also she can't walk. The kidnappers injected her with tranquilizer, and her legs don't work very well right now. So she gets on her back, and we do this. That is the first of 2 swimming segments with Emma in tow. We can just leave her here because the next cutscene she actually spawns right next to us. Couple of codec calls here. Importantly, we take the right side in this room, not the left side. There are claymores on the left side, and we don't want to deal with those. We could have picked up the mine detector back in Strut F, but we are large gaming here at NSG Fall 2024, and we don't need those. Couple call with Emma, indicating what she actually intends to do to stop Arsenal Gear, essentially giving Ryden a crash course in computers and electronics as best she can. He's quite the prodigy. We are doing a little bit more swimming, really getting our steps in today. Head down here. Through this door. Emma has a much lower O2 gauge than Ryden does, so she will eventually start taking damage here, but as long as her health doesn't drop below the A in her name, we should be okay. No worries here. We're going to resurface shortly, and we are going to be met with another of Emma's fears. You may have noticed some in the earlier swimming segment, but there are all sorts of sea lice here because of the previous damage. And you guessed it, Emma can't stand bugs. I wish we didn't have to do this, but it is the widely accepted strat. The choke and drag here. In casual play, you would use the coolant to blast away the bugs, but we have to go a little bit faster than normal here. So that's what we do. We're on 1F. We immediately grab hold of Emma. There's a guard directly in front of us. We are probably not going to be able to beat this cycle. In story context, this game takes place on April 29th and 30th in, I guess, what was then an alternate future, 2009. I guess now it's an alternate past. But now it's the evening of April 29th, 2009. And that guard is obviously feeling the effects. So we decided to put him out for a nice nap before grabbing hold of Emma again. Take out this guard. If you do get spotted here, the backup guards have been upgraded with advanced armor and also shotguns for some reason. So we don't want to deal with those. Can we get out here? I don't think we can. You need to be tight. The guard spawns in when you take the stairs, looks left, looks right, then proceeds on its way. You can be past him, but if Emma isn't, he'll call in an alert. Onto the KL connecting bridge. There is a strategy you can use here, which actually doesn't work on the Master Collection Volume 1. It will soft lock your game if you try it, so we need to do things the old-fashioned way. There are 2 ciphers on this bridge and a guard we don't need to deal with. We have AK ammo again. Take this cipher out and proceed up these very conveniently placed slats. They repaired the damage from earlier. Obviously, we would just be totally soft-locked if we actually had to find another way around. Speaking of finding a way around things, this is the very conveniently placed fire over to the south side leading on to Strut L. We got Emma, and we are stopping our tracks by a level 5 door. Just kidding. Emma had a level 5 card on her whole time. It's a hell of a Deus Ex Machina, but it works. and allows us to proceed into strut L. 2 guards here. There were 2 guards here, update. We take hold of Emma again, and we are now coming up on a section where I get to rest my voice for a little bit, and we get to jam out to some of my favorite BGM in the entire series, Quick Choke and Drag, to drag Emma to this hatch. And we head down about a 130-foot long ladder, interface with Snake. Emma has to make her way over to the other side of the oil fence on strut E. Strut E B1, which we couldn't access earlier because we didn't have a level 5 card in our person, but now we do. We'll be able to get back in there, no problem. And it's time to play sniper. There are guards here currently, and also some more spawning in when Emma is at certain points of the map. We are supposed to eliminate those 2 guards, pick up the Pentaz. We don't need to use Pentasmin at all on very easy. It's a medication ride and take for the shakes when he equips the PSG-1, but it doesn't affect him at all on VE, which is convenient. There are ciphers as well. That's 1. We got a bunch more. And we get a call from Snake indicating that Emma is halfway over the first section of the bridge. We have guards spawning in up top. We're going to deal with them real quick. There's 1. There's 2. And with that done, I would like to call for any potential donation updates, please. I don't have anything to do for a few minutes, so we can chat.
Judith, Carrow. I believe you're going to a little event held in Glasgow in a couple of weeks, aren't you? A little event called UKSG. I believe there's also some members of the audience here as well going. We would like to thank them just for their continued support for this marathon. As I said, they hold gatherings 3 times a year in Scotland and have supported NSG from the beginning. The next event, Blue, will be happening in October 12th and 13th, and you can catch it live over twitch.tv/UKSG Marathon. We would also like to thank BSG for their continued support as well. If you live in or near the Benelux region, then the folks at BSG have got you covered with regular events held in the Netherlands. Their next upcoming event, BSG 37, will be held on November 16th and 17th at Amersfoort and streamed live on twitch.tv/BSG_marathon. So make sure you mark your calendars for both events, folks.
Thank you. Now that we're back, we have a bunch more ciphers to take out. And Emma makes her way over the second section of the bridge. There are 2 more guards here that are going to spawn in about 30 seconds. Just going to hop over to the final section of the bridge and eliminate that cipher really quick. The thermal goggles aren't necessarily mandatory for this section, but they really do help they really do help if gamers are playing this game and suffering from any kind of visual impairment. It really helps brighten things up. And speaking of visual impairments, we are raising money for the NSBP. My girlfriend, Duck VT, who should be in chat at the moment, she's blind, so this is the cause very close to my heart. And anything at all you can give along above what has already been contributed would be greatly appreciated by the blind and partially sighted people in Norway. Those 2 guards have now been taken out. We have a few more ciphers to deal with, like that, not missing shots. I definitely didn't do that. You didn't see me do that at all. And Emma is heading around the back of the second section of the oil fence. There's a certain cutscene that plays there when you have the directional microphone equipped. Whoops. I was a little bit too late on that. A certain cutscene there, if you have the directional microphone equipped, you actually meet Johnny Sasuke from Metal Gear Solid, who spots Emma but decides to let her go because he's magnanimous like that. Also, you get some amusing dialogue from Snake if you head over in that direction with the D-mic equipped. We are not doing that this time though because it's not really very marathon friendly and we are already racing to make up time anyway. Emma is on to the third and final section of the bridge. There are going to be one more, maybe two more ciphers to deal with. I forget, but one of them spawns in, and things can get fairly hairy with it if you don't spot it, and it catches you unawares, like that one almost did. It'll spawn in shortly. Don't worry about Emma, by the way. She's going to be completely okay. Nothing calamitous is going to befall her in maybe 45 seconds or so. Yeah, don't worry about her. I took out that cipher by shooting the camera for cool points. I figured I should do that at least once. One PSG shot blows them up, and one shot to the camera also blows them up and looks cooler. It's something I like to do whenever I can. Emma is almost there, and we are now just about to enter the endgame of Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty Plant Percent VE, which I'm running for the excellent folks at NSG Fall 2024. Surprise, it's Vamp. That was Vamp. Everybody say bye, Vamp. Another 4-second boss fight. He really doesn't have the best of luck, but he has done some serious damage. Emma has been stabbed. And as you may see, there's blood on the floor there. She has been taken to the B2 computer room of the Shell 1 core, where she is supposed to install the virus to take down Arsenal gear. We have to go meet up with her ASAP. There's a guard there behind that level 5 door. He's got his AirPods in. He can't hear us, so we are just going to let him jam out to his tunes and proceed onto the EF connecting bridge. There are 3 ciphers here we need to take out. I have just enough AK ammo. Yeah, I still do have just enough AK ammo. The claymores have been removed, so we don't have to worry about those. I'm just going to take that guy out for GP. Technically, you don't need to, but you do need to be fast, because if you're on any of those collapsing slats and he shoots you, you die and you respawn right back at the beginning of this countdown segment, and that is just no good. Sea lice on the floor there. Note the symbolism. You can't just run up here, crawl it. You can't just run up there. Like aerialing does not actually gain you any time there, because as you saw, Raiden enters the cutscene walking. It turns out we have been double crossed by Solid Snake. Who could ever have seen that coming? And we regain consciousness in a room that looks very similar to the Metal Gear Solid 1 torture room.
Hasn't it? Jack the Ripper.
Here's the big battle of the game. We've already beaten him once. Solid as Snake, everybody.
You know this fellow? You remember me, don't you? You've grown.
Love that line. He is a cybernetically enhanced villain with Doc Ock arms, the former president of the United States, and Raiden's adopted father. Just MGS2 things. This is a tutorial for a torture segment we have to undergo. It is nothing close to life-threatening on VE. Now on Euro, in early versions of the game, they essentially had to patch out that section down to a more manageable level, because it was like a minute and a half of straight mashing. And one of the main reasons why turbo controllers were made legal for speedruns of this game. We finally come face to face with Olga as Raiden. She is going to get us out of our restraints, but first we have a dramatic codec call to take with Rosemary. Now that's done, we're freed. We have our dog tags, and we are also extremely naked. We have been stripped of our gear, literally, and we head into Arsenal Gear Jejunum for the start of the endgame. Whereupon we receive a totally normal codec call from Colonel Campbell. Don't worry about it. Flip over there, flip up there. Introducing the last kind of guards you can fight in this game. We have more of them to deal with shortly. I will give them a proper introduction when the time comes. We are naked, but we have maintained our sick cartwheeling skills. So we do that, take out that guard, run and gun. They do shoot us, but their aiming is way off. We are way ahead of them. Couple more cartwheels into the ascending colon of Arsenal Gear. We have to take 5 optional but effectively mandatory codec calls here from the completely normal Colonel Campbell. There's nothing untoward going on with him whatsoever. Yeah, completely normal to mention Japanese subway stations. And the pause buffers here cycle along the calls to save us a few seconds. After the third one, that person shows up on the radar. I don't know who that is, don't ask me. That's number 4. And after this call, we should receive one from Rose. We need to stand specifically here. Yes, that's it. That's Rose. And the music fades out, and some late developing plot points happen. We reunite with Snake. Olga has been on our side this entire time and has left us a high-frequency blade. If this seems familiar, if you were tuning in for the Rising Revengeance run earlier in the marathon, this is where it originates from. It's a high-frequency blade. We're given approximately 42 seconds of time to familiarize ourselves with the weapon, but we actually don't need that because I don't know about you, but I played this game hundreds of times, and I think I'm a dab hand with this weapon. We can't use anything else from our recently reacquired gear. We just get to stand here and vibe to the spooky corridor ambience for about another 15 seconds or so, staring down Snake and just waiting for things to proceed.
Do we have time for a quick donation?
I think we do, yeah. A quick one.
We have 100 NOK from Paulister saying, good luck, Carrow, you're doing amazing. And that goes towards picking Yoshi's colour, which is now blue, which is in the lead with 100 versus pink, which is 69.
Wonderful. Thank you. This is Tengu's 1. Not Tengu's, not 20 Goose even, Tengu's 1. We have to eliminate several of these guards in this room and the next room. We need to do that as quickly as possible, of course, because it's a speed run. Take out this guard here, lean against the door, re-equip the SOCOM, punch, punch, kick, and we're through. That is the Prozac skip discovered by runner Chewable Prozac in January of 2023. Technically, it works on all the doors in the game, but you will soft lock yourself if you try anything else. Tengu's 2, we equip the Stinger. As you may notice, Snake does have his infinite ammo bandana equipped, but he is not invulnerable. He does not have infinite health. And he can take damage here. He can even die here if you're unfortunate enough. So we just aim our weapon at the upper level of this section of arsenal gear and wail on these incoming Tengus. The screen that comes up here is essentially the GW virus injected into arsenal gear, fucking with us. And the sorry about that. And the from there we get 2 of these. The second one should come up shortly. Once we've taken out more of these guards. Come on. Yep, there we go. That's the second one. And once we have taken out enough guards here, the alert bar goes down. 48 of them. Can I do this? I can do this.
It came as a complete surprise when Ocelot discovered
this is an unskippable cutscene from Solidus outlining his ruse to get right into this point.
the perfect assassin to retire.
We can equip
Snake's brother.
our Stinger, which is what we are going to need for the penultimate boss fight of this run. There are 25 Metal Gear Rays housed in arsenal gear, and we have to eliminate all 25 of them. Just kidding, it's 3. Now, on European Extreme, it's 20, but on VE, it's 3. And we can do so very easily. 2 shots per ray, so 6 shots total. You may have noticed that is kind of a recurring theme in this run. 6 shots for Vamp 1, 6 shots for Vamp 2, and 6 shots for the Metal Gear Race. We've got a weapon here. We can do everything. We can even flip around, but we're not actually able to proceed unless this cutscene has been completed.
Every day was absolute. Split between life and death.
So we're going to switch to the Stinger when the fight opens.
And now you've been led
And
back
we're
to
going to
war by
eliminate some
something
mechs
less
real
than
quick.
real.
Fade to black. And we get our stinger out. Knee shot. Headshot. Gets the controls. I almost forgot to move there. Whoops. Once you've taken out the first raid, the second one will immediately jump on stage. Another knee shot. And the fight is over. That was the Metal Gear raid. Skip this boss fight. Sorry, skip this save boss. Now, we are coming up on a boss fight, actually, now I mention it. Another unskippable cutscene here with Solidus.
Underestimated you.
This is the torture section I was talking about earlier. It's no threat to life on VE.
Squeeze the answers out of you
We don't even
instead,
need turbo
my
for this.
son.
Just hold triangle and try to regain our O2 as fast as possible. That will drain and start impacting on the amount of life we have left. But don't worry, we get a full refill before the final boss fight against, you guessed it, Solidus Snake.
It's not him I want the answers from.
We're coming up on that. We're not just fighting Solidus, we're fighting the camera as well, for reasons I will explain in a moment. Quick fire cutscenes there, and one final codec call from the completely off the rails Colonel Campbell, who it turns out was an AI this entire time. The script for this game has held up incredibly well. I'd like to think it's possibly more pertinent 23 years later than it was in 2001. But if you want to read all that and keep up with everything, you can do so online. Actually being able to keep up with it in a speedrun setting is pretty much impossible. But we can keep up with Solidus. We can take him out. Time will be coming up in approximately 45 seconds.
Let's go.
9 hits on phase 1. And 6 more on phase 2. He's gonna zoom over to the, oh, well actually no, that was a sword zoom. He's gonna shed his Doc arms and double his speed. 6 more hits. Timing coming in about 20 seconds if I play my cards right. Yep, 3 more hits. Get ready for time. Oh, no, didn't quite get that. Time! Thank you, everyone. Apologies for my slip up during the Tengu 2 fight. I was the heat of the moment, I suppose. Thank you all for having me. This full 9.5-minute cutscene will not play out on stream, thankfully. So before I sign off and throw things back to our host, I would like to say a couple of quick things. Thank you so much to my wonderful girlfriend, DuckVT, who was in chat and inspired me to start streaming on Twitch in the first place. Thank you, baby. This one was for you. I love you so much. This one was also for Nick RP Green, a member of the Metal Gear Speedrunner community who gave me the push to start speedrunning this game in the first place. I'd also like to shout out fellow Metal Gear Speedrunner Apache Smash, who could not be here this weekend. He was supposed to be up next with me, but we do have Nordic up next, so I'm going to get out of your hair. I will throw things back to the host. Thank you again to the wonderful folks at NSG for having me, and hopefully I'll see you again at some point soon. Carrow out. Goodbye.
Thank you, Carol, very much for that run. As Carol just mentioned, we are just going to go over to our next game. We will go into intermission for a few minutes, so please just sit back, relax, and enjoy the music as we get set up.